President Trump, under his administration, has just stopped funding to many banks and credit unions. Now, if you're part of a credit union like Navy Federal, you are going to be affected by this stop of funding because of this government shutdown. And if it continue, you're going to see a huge stop in the banking and lending system, and this can affect everyone. Now, I'm going to break down what's going on in this video and how this is affecting you right now, and you don't even know it, and how you can prepare to protect yourself so you're not impacted by this credit and funding crunch. This channel is designed to help you no matter where you are in your credit journey, so subscribe to the channel and download this free hard inquiry removal package. The link is in the description of the video and in the pinned comment section. Now, with this government shutdown, there's many departments that's been brought to a screeching halt. Now, one of those departments is the CDFI fund. Now, this fund helps support community banks, credit unions with funding, especially to help those in the community that lends out to a lot of low income areas and help small businesses. Now, with this department being furloughed, a lot of this funding is not getting to community banks and credit unions, and this is affecting you. Now, here is the operation and what the CDFI fund actually help banks in these particular areas. The CDFI program helps with FA grants, financial assistance, provide direct capital grants to strengthen balance sheets, enabling more community lending, TA grants, technical assistance, and with this, funds for operational improvement, staffing, and technical training is included in that help. Also, BEA programs, Bank Enterprise Awards, rewards bank for increasing lending investment in distressed areas, offering cash awards. New marketing tax credits support large-scale community development projects, often partnered through banks. And certification as CDFI unlock additional federal and state grant partnerships and impact investor funds. So without these additional funds, this affects banks and credit unions from having additional liquidity to lend to you. So with this going on, this is really causing a backup in the system. And if you are a person that needs a loan, or maybe even if you're currently needing some additional time because you've been affected by being laid off, this doesn't give the banks and the credit unions the grace in order to extend it to you. Now, with this, when you have people who have been laid off or even now furloughed, they can't keep up with their bills. And especially with Navy Federal, they have a lot of government contractors and military service people, and even credit unions like USAA. So with this, with these people not being able to pay their bills on time, this affects the banks and credit unions. And then they start examining their books. And if you're a person that's already have higher debt, this can put a target on your back with your credit lines that you have to look for them to start to limit their risk. They can even look to close down accounts or drop credit card limits. And this can affect your credit score dramatically if you have your credit limit dropped. You want to make sure you're maintaining your credit, because if they're looking to cut credit lines, they're going to look at derogatories on your current credit profiles as they look through their customer system. And if you're looking to get loans or credit cards or any type of funding, you want to have a high credit score as possible with no derogatory marks on your credit report. When my elite credit system users like Greg was able to remove his collection within 12 days. So if you need my help with these negative items with my AI software and credit coaching, that link is in the description of the video and in the pinned comment section. So make sure that you're maintaining your credit. So if you go for funding or they begin to look to cut these credit lines, you're not on the list. And even worse, especially with local and community banks, many small businesses depend on these banks for loans. And if you have federal grants and projects that is helping to create jobs in the community, this can lead to even more local unemployment. So if these businesses cannot keep cash flow going, this can cause people not even connected to the federal government to lose their jobs. And that also slows down even spending to other community businesses that really depend on customers spending. So if you have layoffs with government and local businesses, especially in towns that's highly dependent on these, like military towns, or even Washington, D.C., where a lot of the people employed is employed by the federal government, this can wreak havoc on their local economy, and it can affect you directly. Because if you are not even employed with the federal government or a contractor, your local job can be affected without getting these funds being pressed through the system to keep that business that you're working for with the capital to pay your salary. And all over, additionally, this can affect housing. So even if you are a person who's moving into a new apartment, development or complex, or if you're trying to buy a home with these federally backed funds, this affects FHA, USDA, and VA loans. Now, you may say, well, I'm not buying a home, but think about your local contractor that's building these apartment buildings or homes. They're depending on these funds in order to complete that bill or to continue to build more housing and the projects that they're on. Now, with them, number one, they're not getting access to these loans because the bank is now tight on liquidity for not being able to access that government funds. And additionally, you have people who are laid off with the federal government not paying their current obligations on their loans, and disconnect to a bigger, broader ecosystem of private businesses not being able to get funding and people being laid off to be able to purchase from those private businesses. And so with the FHA loans, VA loans, and USDA loans, they are not being issued out and they're being slowed down in this process because of this government shutdown. So if you were a person who is in the middle of trying to get a federally backed loan, this can slow down your process. And with the builders or even with major units being built, these contractors use their other projects with these home loans to fund some of these bigger apartment building if they're involved in other trades. And this hurts the whole economy and slow down housing. Because when you're thinking about even just contractors, there's other trades being affected when these contractors cannot get these funds. So your electricians, your plumbers, and even carpenters, masonry people, they have employees and staff too. So this is slowing down other parts of the economy, and this can affect many areas of our economy, and we can all feel the crunch. So with this shutdown going on for a long period of time, this can affect in many areas, especially with the Fed. They were looking to also reduce interest rates coming up in November, but without the data that's collected by these government agencies, now they may even have a tough time to actually look at what's going on in the economy to reduce the interest rates, which also help the rest of us get more lending from the banks and relieve us of some of the debts, interest rates that you may have right now with your credit cards, or even affecting getting better terms for car loans, home loans, and other loans at a lower interest rate where you can afford to take out these loans. Now, there's many people that need debt consolidation loans and other lending from the bank to help them in this time, especially if they need a bridge to keep them going from these bumps in the economy. Now, if you are having a tough time, many banks and credit unions are being understanding about the situation because they know what's going on with these layoffs and these shutdowns. Now, if you are with a credit union like Navy Federal, you want to contact them and let them know about your situation. Many of them have loans in this time to help you or may even allow you to skip payments until this situation blows over. So make sure you contact your bank or credit union if you are struggling right now. And if you have proof that you are furloughed temporarily, this can help save your credit score. So please don't sit back and let yourself get a ton of missed payments because of this situation. be proactive, and think ahead and try your best to maintain your credit score until you get through this time. So hopefully this information was helpful. If you have questions or comments, leave it in the comment section. For more detailed questions for me, you can go to my website and all your questions go directly to my cell phone. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.